All right, so I'm back in the we're doing the Golf Clash Basics 101 class, and I'm back in my 22 account. So we started off, we learned how to do basic wind ring adjustments, then we played 30 some odd games, 40 games with the beginner clubs, and kind of got some clubs opened up, and then started replacing those beginner clubs with better clubs. There are some, you may get a card for another club, but when you at level 1, that club's not any better than the beginner, so it's not really worth changing. But now that we've changed, the benefit of playing at the very beginning with the beginner clubs is every club is 10% accurate. So that's 2.8 per ring. So it's super easy. You just need to remember 2.8, and every club's the same. But now that you're starting to use other clubs, now this club is 7 accurate, and this club is 51 accurate, and this club is 66 accurate, and your runner is 36. So now we've got every club is different. And trying to remember those, especially like when you first start, there's a lot of clubs that, like, I can tell you right now, I don't remember any of these clubs. But once you get them upper developed, or you get them maxed out, or you get into one of those, you'll get into a stretch where, hey, that's the best its accuracy ever is. You'll start to remember the numbers. So we want to just take a blank piece of paper. There's several ways you can do it. If you want to use the apps, you can use the Golf Clash Notebook app, or you can use Golf Clash Caddy. And you can plug in your clubs, put all the clubs that you have in your bag, and when you first start playing, you're going to be updating those clubs regularly. So that if you decide to use one of those clubs, you have one of those in a bag, you can pull up what the numbers are. So if you're using hand math, you're going to need to take a piece of paper, and you're going to need to go to, I prefer personally the stuff that's at Golf Clash Notebook, because you can look at the club. Like, we got a rocket here. So in my bag I have a rocket. What level was my rocket? I got a rocket 6 just after a few games. I mean, I haven't played 44 games, and that's, I've already got a rocket 6. So we can come into Golf Clash Notebook and go to Rocket, and we can see, the thing I like about Golf Clash Notebook better is we can see the progression of the club from level 1 all the way through level 10. So if we're at level 6, we can see, like, hey, we get a little bit of a distance boost at 7, and we can see what's going to happen at the next level. Like, hey, when it gets 2 levels away, it really starts to get some ball guide, and then now we're talking about, this right here is going to help us out a lot. But you can see the progression of the club as you get up in levels. But we can go right into here, and we can go into wind, and we can pick what level club we have. We have a level 6 club, and that max club with a 0 power ball. And if you're playing rookie, if you're playing really all the way up to Tour 7, there are a few holes here and there that as you go up that, maybe a 1 power ball would help, but you can play all the way up to Tour 7 with a 0 power ball. And when you're playing these lower tours, do not waste your good balls. Save them for tournaments. Even your katanas and those are good balls that you'll use during a tournament. Save them for the tournament. Do not waste them. You don't need them. You can go out there and win with a 0 power ball if you know how to use the wind ring method, and you'll beat the majority of people out there just by playing it smart and knowing how to play your clubs. So with a 0 power ball at max, a level 6 rocket is 1.6 per ring. Now, when we started this off and we were doing the wind ring method, we just had the 2.8 per ring, and that was the only thing we worried about. We didn't worry about mid club or minimum club. But what I want you to do now that you've started to expand your clubs, and you're moving off of the beginner clubs, and you're starting to get some clubs that are better, I want you to write down the rocket, and then write down the max number for the club level you have with a 0 power ball, the mid number, and the minimum number. And I have on my sheet, because you're not going to use all these clubs. I will tell you right now, that now driver's a different story, because at the beginning the Rocket is basically your accurate club. It's got ball guide and it's got much better accuracy than the Extra Mile. It doesn't hit as far, but there's a lot of times when it's helpful. Every one of these drivers we're going to use throughout, and they all have their benefits when they get to certain levels over the other club. At some point, the quarterback, when I get it to probably like level 2, it'll be better than the Rocket, and I won't use my Rocket anymore, except for when I need backspin. But like the beginner woods, I'd really like to get a Horizon. Woods are also one of those ones where all of these clubs are pretty decent clubs. And over the course of your Golf Clash career, there's going to be times you will move off the Viper. It'll be the one that once you start getting some of these other clubs, you'll never go back to the Viper. But there are times when you'll use your Horizon in a tournament as you get some of these lower ones developed. When we get to long iron, the Grim Reaper has its benefits. It does have backspin, but really we're looking for, the Apache. I don't really want to ever have to use the Apache. You'll never use a boomerang or a down and oneer. Okay, so there's some clubs we're just not going to use, but I write down the clubs that I am going to use. So on my drivers, I've got Extra Mile and a Rocket, and for my woods, I've got a Viper and a Big Dog. Basically, because those are the only ones that I have. But as soon as I get a Horizon, I'll probably start using the Horizon. The Backbone and the Goliath, a Runner and a Kingfisher. And I may not have bags set up for them. This is an important thing about joining a clan, is join a clan that's got multiple bags so that you can set up. This is my distance bag, and this is my accuracy bag, because that Rocket is definitely more accurate, has better ball guide, doesn't have the distance. But there's a lot of times on drives you're just trying to lay it up, and we'd really like to see where the hell we're going, and this ball guide's going to help us. And it's a really accurate club. It gives us a little bit of tools. So make a sheet. I'll wait for you. Make a sheet. Write down all the clubs that you have. And if you're using hand math, if you're doing this through the app, just go plug in all of your clubs into the app. And if you're doing it by hand math, go into a Golf Clash notebook or Tommy site, and you can find your win numbers for the level of club that you have, and set it up for a 0 power ball, because it will change. Like if we put in a power 3 ball, you can see those numbers changed. Okay, so they're different if you're using something bigger than a power 0. But when we're playing out there in one-on-one, we're just going to be using a 0 power ball. All right, I'll wait for you. Okay, I'm back. So we have all of our numbers. Now we're going to go out there, and now we have to go out there and put them to use. And once again, when we're out on the course, the whole deal is fairway to green. We want to stay in the fairway when we're playing. Let your opponent, hey, if your opponent goes out there and they hit great shots and they've got the stuff and they bring out a bigger ball and they get up and they get ahead of you, take your lumps. Congratulate them, try and replay them, and just take your lumps. But the mass majority of the people that you play when you're first starting off, if you can just keep your ball in the fairway, you're going to beat them. So let's get out on the course with our massive stuff. One shot away, Happy's Place. Now for most of the shots that we're going to do, we're going to just use our max numbers. But there are times, especially when we're really going into the cup, that we're going to take a look at our minimum numbers, or so we're going to start learning how to find out where we're at. We want to add this to our repertoire. So we started off and we were just using the max number, and we wanted to make sure we left ourselves enough room so that we could take wind out, and we were pretty much focused on that. Now what we want to do is we're going to add a new thing. Is we always want to, one of the first things we want to do is find out where we're at in our club. Are we at max? Are we at mid? Are we at minimum? most of the time with your driver, not all the time, but most of the time, you're going to be in max club. And this hole right here is brutal. I'm going to hit it over here. I think I can get up from over here and I won't have any issues. I don't really want to roll off the end, but I think I'll be all right. 2 miles per hour, my rocket's at 1.6, so 2 divided by 1.6, 1.25 rings. 1 1/4 rings. Just hit it out there straight. Perfect. Now it's all about whether I roll off the end. And that's a little closer than I like to get. Obviously, the next shot I'm going to like where I was at, but that's a little too close for me. When you're playing a tour, the first time you're playing a tour, you're going to have epic fails where you overshoot that. And you really want to try and remember, like, hey, when you get on this, it's like 1 backspin. Now, see, my opponent brought out a, 3 or 4 power ball in order to get this done. And that is a ball right there that I can tell you in the last tournament I used a couple of those balls and they were helpful. Stay on the green, stay on the green, make them have a long putt. Stay. Make them have a long putt. Nah, it's going to roll off. Now, depending on their clubs, though, that can be a very difficult shot with beginner counts because these short little chips suck with new clubs. So we're at max. So there's max. And there's min right here. There's max, there's min. Look at how close. So I'm actually in about mid club. I'm going to put 1 top spin on. So at mid club, so I can look at my mid club numbers for my Viper. It's 2.4. So 1.2 divided by 2.4 is 0.5 of a ring. Half a ring. There we go. Let's hit it perfect. Hitting it perfect. Oh, we got the slide. It'll end up in the rough. It caught we catch this. It's not necessarily a glitch in the game. It is a glitch because in the real world, you'd kind of wish that it would do that, but if you're on a hill and you hit, like in a bowl like this, and you're coming in and you hit right here, it'll bounce out and then it'll continue to bounce. But if you come in and it hits right here, instead of bouncing up, what it did is it hit the ground and it slid, and once it starts sliding, it continues to slide and it'll put you off. And I like the shot that we took just going straight down to the end, because the shot coming up to the cup, we didn't have to have a lot of spin on it or curl in order to get it around there. What my opponent did is going to be super tough. Put 1 backspin on. That's going to be a low percentage for them. Now I'm only going off of the flagpole here, and these are some advanced things. I'm only going off of the flagpole because I'm trying to hedge my bet. The wind's really not going to play a factor here, but if I hit it great to the right, it might go in. And I hit it perfect. and by moving it off of the hole like that, I was off the flagpole. So coming in there too fast, you take the risk of it bouncing out like that. That's okay. Hey, you got to take your lumps when you're on the deal. We did what we needed to do, and our opponent beat us. Hey, that's great. Let's rematch them. They don't want anything to do with that. Let me make sure I have slots open, just in case we do get somebody that does want to replay. Let me get rid of all these silver chests. I'm gonna speed them up. I'm gonna do that until I run out of gems. I was talking to my buddy Kyle earlier. What up, Kyle? And we were talking about when you have a new account, that he's got an account that's got less than 600 games, and he's already got all of his epics to level 7. And it's like, how do you do that? And you do that by getting the golf pass, and now we're back on that same hole. So let's see if I can remember the deal. Just pulling back a little from the red line. I'm going to put on one backspin. See that little hollow that's right there? I'm worried that I'll come rolling into that hollow and shoot off of the end. That's why I'm trying to move it off to the side. You can see where my bounce, that second bounce is coming in. It's on the downhill. So at max club with a rocket, 2.7 divided by 1.6, 1.7 rings. One ring great to the right. And I'm okay with that distance right there. We'll see what now we can set the second shot up and try and remember what we do on the second shot. If I'd have brought my extra mile, we could have made it over to the other side. If you make it over to the other side, there's a bunch of different ways that you can go at the cup, but it can be very dangerous on the other side if you end up in that sand. And because we don't have the recovery clubs to recover from that sand. So if we end up in that sand, we're in big ass trouble. So fairway to green. I think my opponent has an opportunity to roll off. Hey dude, you were one more spin of the ball and you'd have been in the drink. I'm going to pull back a little from the red line. You can see where my red line's at. There's my minimum max. I'm going to pull back to mid. And mid with my Viper is 2.4, so it's 3.7 divided by 2.4, 1.54 rings. And I'm not going to put any spin on it at all. I'm going to just see how it rolls out. My whole goal is just to get up on the green, 1.54 rings. No matter what your opponent says or whether they're giving you shit, always do your wind ring adjustment. Just get in that habit. It's a good habit. You want to build that muscle memory. It's a good habit to build up. Perfect. I didn't like how that bounced through there. I was super close to this area right here. Now, we have some advanced things here where my max is here, my mid's here, my minimum's here, and I was in mid club and I played mid club, but you can see how the wind pushed me right there. And this is so common in this game to go from the sand to the sand, from the rough to the rough, from the rough to the sand. Firefly, run my top spin. We are so close that wind should not be a factor here. And with this Firefly, I will say the Firefly's got some tools, but one of the things about it is you got to hit it perfect. In the hole. Good game. That's the way it should be. Now my opponent still has an opportunity to get in there. A Malibu, there is so much stuff to talk about in this game, like just like little things that if you've played for a while or you've been playing for a while and you've got upper developed clubs and you just take it for granted, or you just do that stuff and think about that stuff and you don't without thinking about it. It's just part of the muscle memory. Getting a gold chest. Let's play again. You got it, bro. You got it. This is why you clear out chests, because when people first start playing, you can get people that want to replay If you get out there and you find you're playing against somebody and they like you're watching them play and it's like, wow, like what they're doing is like really good. They're doing everything by the book and they're kicking my ass. Replay those people. It's worth getting your butt kicked and losing a little bit of cheddar just to watch how they're playing. Watch how they're setting it up. Now you can play it over there, but your odds of getting into trouble, unless you're actually trying to blast it over to here, your odds of getting in trouble in here are big. And it's tough to recover. So when you've got lower developed stuff, you've got a straight up shot at the green if you just lay it up right there and then you can go straight to the green. And this is where if you were taking the shot to the left, you'd want to bring out the biggest club you have and really try and pound it down there. But if you're playing over here, this is a great place to use your rocket, your accurate club, because you got a little bit more ball guide and you got a little bit, you can see where you're going. So if we were going out into that area right there and we brought out our extra mile, like how far we could get if we really wanted to pound it to get over to the deal, we're not going to be able to make it even with that wind. We're going to get caught up in the rough. But we can lay it up over here and have a pretty good, and we're at minimum club right there with no spin. I'm going to put on a little bit of backspin. 2.5. What is my rocket? 1.6. So 2.5 divided by 1.6. 1.56 rings. If I can get my shit done before I run out of time. Hitting it perfect. Had to hurry. You're not going to be drawing on the screen or doing all of the stuff that I'm doing and talking and not getting it done in time. So I'm having to rush. But once you get this down, you'll give yourself plenty of time. I don't like to give myself, I'm so used to having less than 5 seconds by the time I adjust the ball that I usually either have to let it go like I did right there, like the first time by, or I try and hit it on the second time by. The longer I let it go, the harder it is for me to hit perfect. And that island blows because that island can throw your ball off in a weird direction. You see they hit that and it like launched them off to the left. Fairway. Fairway. Fairway to green. Okay, we're in our Viper. It's 3.8. We're at max club. It's 2.1 per ring divided by 2.1. 1.8 rings. See where our second bounce is there. Right at the red line. 1.8 rings. .8. How much curl we got? I'm going to put all the curl on it. Try and get it going towards the cup if I don't hit that tree. Just launching it up there. Yeah, we do not want to play off that island. It's an optical illusion. Like it might look like, wow, that island's the best way to go at it because you can go right at the cup. It's an optical illusion. Stay away from that island. Any of those little islands in the game like this, there's some that are flat, but most of them have a big curvature to them. Now, if you're playing friends, I would miss my putt right here and I would force a shootout so that we could play, because you're playing friendlies and let's get some experience. If you're playing friends and you're helping each other out as far as cash flow, you can do that in the shootout just as well as you can do it out on the course, but let's get more play time. But when you're playing out here and you're playing against strangers and you're trying to get open chests, you want to put the hammer down on them. Put the hammer down. And just because you beat somebody doesn't mean that they won't come back and beat you. So if they want to replay them. All right. Now this is an extra mile hole right here. We definitely want to use our extra mile. We definitely. Now we could come in here and do a bunch of overpower, and we could have a pretty good shot of getting up towards the cup if we did overpower on it. My extra mile is 3 per ring, and I'm right at, so it's 1.1 divided by 3 is 0.36 of a ring, 0.4. And all we're doing is taking the side wind out. And I want to put a little bit of overpower just because I was a little teeny into power. Not enough to really make the needle go any faster, but just enough to get me past that 3/4 of a ring, or 1/3 of a ring, excuse me. With these balls, with these clubs, it's very unlikely we're going to get on in one if we overpower it. But you can, this hole's not as bad as it used to be. When the hole first came out, this is the first cut of the rough, this is the second cut of the rough. If you were in the second cut of the rough, you were out of bounds. And so it was super easy on an overpower, like down here where this sand was out of bounds because of the cuts. You got the second cut of the rough, first cut of the rough, and the sand was in the second. That sand trap was out of bounds. So you didn't want to you didn't really want to overpower it. And they've changed, there used to be a lot more trees on this course, on this hole. Now if you hit it perfect, but I'm not sure what they were doing with all that curl. We're about in the same spot now. Let's see what club we got. This is where the mid minimum numbers can come in handy. So I'm in my runner, and there's max, and there's min. So I'm in about mid club, eking towards min, about mid. So mid runner's 3.3 per ring. So 1.3 divided by 3.3 is 0.4 of a ring. I'll put on 1 backspin, which is what I got. And try and line it up to the cup. We're not getting a good read here with that ball guide, but we can get some read. 0.4 of a ring. And there's 0.4 of a ring. Now we just need to hit it perfect and it'll go in the hole. We hope. Hitting it perfect. So at least get a look at it. Dude. Now leaving it short. That's the rookie move right there, leaving it short. Damn it. If you were out on a real golf course playing with a bunch of guys, they would be giving you shit about leaving it short. Is your husband in the group behind us? Start lifting some weights, you can get some muscle in there. And it's arguable whether I should be playing with my Goliath. I got a Goliath 1, and the ball guide is about the same, but the Goliath does have a shit ton of topspin. And there's times when your long iron, you use it, you really need it. The thing about it is when you get it upper developed and it starts to get some ball guide, you can do rough bumps with your Goliath and kind of see where it's going to go. It's hard to do when they're low level. And you don't want to have to take long putts on this hole. It's good to learn how to be close. Short putts are easy. Long putts aren't. Easy. See if my opponent can make the putt. Force a shootout. We'll do the get in the hole after they... Now they're on the outside edge. So if they hit it to the right... Oh, shit. That's bad. Good game. Good luck, my man. Good luck. I liked it better when the game first came out and you could replay people all day. You could replay them 1,000 times if you want. As long as you were online and they were online and you were in the thing, you could continue to replay them. And now the whole Playdemic not wanting you to catch a friend and then be able to go out there and your friend give you some coins. Oh my gosh. It was a lot. I think it was funner when we could replay people. You can do these achievements. Got one of my viewers talks about the achievements. You can come in here and you can get. I am always disappointed on how many have 500 trophies. You get 500 trophies and you get 10 gems. Shit, 10 gems isn't enough to open up a chest. They started this off when the game first came out, and if you go look at it, there's a bunch of these rewards that I qualified for. Like if you were in some of the beginning tournaments, but we never got, for whatever reason, they never gave us. We never got any stuff for them. It's not achievements that we achieved, even though we were there. But you don't get a lot from them, but you do get some. So if you're looking for gems, that is some free gems that you get. Not a lot, but some. And you will roll through gems if you're opening chests. It's the sad thing about it is, yes, you can play for free, but you're going to play. It's going to take a long time because it's easy. It's super easy to fill up all 4 chest slots when you know how to use the win ring method. And you're either going to be playing and not winning any chests because your slots are full and you don't have gems to speed them up. And if you're just waiting for, if you play until you got all 4 slots filled and then you just wait until they do it, you're playing, for an hour, 30 minutes every day, because it will not take very long to fill 4 slots if you know how to use the win ring method. And the only way you can get around that is if you have enough gems to be able to speed them up. And so buying some packs or getting into the paying for the golf pass, the $25 for the golf pass. Now we've got a monthly bill. You will be able to upgrade your clubs better because you will have access to better chests with the golf pass if you're playing on a regular basis. But you'll still need gems in order to speed chests up. So, if you want to work your stuff up, especially if you're a new player, so be smart about it. Always try and qualify, try and qualify on the very first day they open it up, and then don't qualify so that you can get the $1.99 pack. That's the best deal in the game. And then when you qualify, they'll offer you a $2.99 pack, which is another really good deal. Anytime you're playing on a hole like this, we can bring out our accurate bag as long as we can get past those trees, and we can get past those trees, so our accurate bag works fine. 2.8. I'm using a rocket. It's 1.6 at max. It's 0.2 rings. Yeah, and you could eyeball that, but get into the habit. Build up this habit. There's 0.2 rings. And I'm in the middle of the freaking fairway there, so I could probably hit that thing. I could have probably sliced it and still been in the fairway. What you'll find on some of these holes, if you're playing this with upper developed stuff, this must be alternate pin. These pins seem like they're in a different spot. There is a rough bump that you can do here if you've got upper developed stuff, especially with that pin placement. It seems like the pin's usually in the back, or normally in the back. You can see from where we're hitting, it's definitely the pin's downhill. And we typically have to, when we're downhill, we have to add a little bit of wind on. So it's 3.6 divided by 2.1. It's 1.71 rings. And there's 175. And I hit it great to the left. One ring great to the left. I'll probably clip the rough right here. It was going to be iffy if I didn't clip the rough, even if I'd hit it perfect. But anything to the left, it was definitely going to clip the rough. These short little shots right here are brutal. Like you can see with the dart, you got this, you're this close. And you're going to miss a lot of these shots because these clubs just aren't helping you like get to the cup. And they're kind of short shooting and they're hitting it and they hit it great and they miss the cup. That is, you know, that is so frustrating when you first start playing because you're that close. You did all of the hard work and you're this close and then you end up. But a Firefly, you have a little bit better shot because you got ball guide. You can run your topspin out like this so you can really get a run at the cup. I'm gonna go right at the flagpole. The thing is we need to hit this perfect. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. In the hole. Winning out on the course. Fairway to green. Jay plays golf. The B52 clan. Thanks for playing. I think they already. Yeah, they don't want to play anymore. They don't want to play. My whole goal playing during the day, like in that time during the day that you're playing, is to get 4 gold chests, which means you have to win 16 matches in order to get 4 golds. But we want to cycle through. We're trying to open up clubs. And I really don't care. I have enough coinage now that I can upgrade that Desert Storm. Where is that Desert Storm? But what gets me on the Desert Storm is it has a lot of stuff in here. But there's 2 things about this sand wedge that I don't like. Number 1, this right here is numero uno in my book. Now, some people would argue that because I can tell you right now, when you get a Malibu, it's you get a little bit more ball guide. It helps you out a lot when you're in those bunkers right close to the green because it's got a little bit more ball guide to help you get in there, and it's a pretty accurate club. But my number 1 thing for what I'm looking for in sand wedges and rough irons is number 1, distance. Because when you're in those fairway bunkers or you're in the rough, you messed up on your drive and you're in the rough halfway to the cup, distance is going to be what saves you. And the second thing I'm looking for, what I really like is topspin, so that I can do the same thing with it gets me, not only am I getting a lot of distance, but I can also make some more distance because of the topspin. And then ball guide's really important. The rest of these are, it's nice to have some curl and it's nice to have some of that stuff, but having power and topspin and ball guide, but power is definitely numero uno, and that's why here I'm playing with a Junglist. I mean, 97 power versus 91 power, and I've got 60 topspin. So there's a lot of rough shots that I could recover from with the Junglist, as shitty as it is at level 1 as far as ball guide. Not any more ball guide than what you got with the beginner stuff, but it's hitting a ton farther than this beginner rough iron at 60 to 97 and then 60 topspin. There's a lot of things that you can recover with that Junglist, and the whole goal is never to have to use it. Never have to use the sand wedge, never have to use the rough iron. I got him in my bag only to save my ass when I screwed up. Let's see if we can get if we can fill those slots with some gold chests. What I'm really surprised about is I've opened up a bunch of chests and I still have my extra mile. I've gotten very few cards for it. I won that tournament, the first tournament that this account played in, just by playing it smart and trying to stay in the fairway and just play it smart. And there was 4 epics in the chest, the winning chest. And there's only like 7 epics that it could possibly have been in there, and I got the ones that all the ones that I was looking for I didn't get. I didn't get a Big Topper, and I didn't get a Kingfisher, and I didn't get a Horizon. Those are the ones I'm looking for. We can hit as far as we can, so we want to bring out the club that hits as far as it can. And we could put on a bunch of overpower and try and do it, but in this situation, it's not really going to help us. And our opponent is in the fairway, so we really want to stay in the fairway out here. So it's extra miles 3 per ring, so 2.5 divided by 3. It's 0.83 rings. Puts me about a half a ring into power. I'm not going to worry about it. I do want to lean just a little. The whole goal is just to stay in the fairway. You'd be amazed at how many times you'll win just because you stayed in the fairway. .310 yards. My opponent's got a level 1 big dog. Big dog. Level 1. The big dog's not a bad club. The thing is, it doesn't have very good ball guide when it's at level 1, and it never really does, even when it gets up. When it gets up, it has better ball guide at 3.9. I think when it's maxed out, it's got 3.9 ball guide, which isn't bad. But its ball guide is always... There's a lot of things that you can get done with the big dog, especially when you have lower developed stuff. Now I have a headwind, and so I don't really want to have to fight against it. And if I'm over here, it's pushing me to the right. But if I start off back in the back here, how far can I get? I was just trying to see how far I could get. I'm going to have to put some curl on it. 3.7, and I'm in about mid-club. So it's 2.4 per ring. 1.54 rings. We'll do 1.6. And there's Max curl. Hitting it perfect. See if I can get a little bit of direction towards the cup. And I would much rather take the pitch from here than have to take the putt from there, because you can't see the cup. And that's a pretty long putt. It's longer than my opponent's, and my opponent's in overpower, and my shot's uphill. Nice. Nice shot. This person seems like they might be an emoji spammer, so let's shut them up while we're taking our shot. So where's Max? Max, mid. I'm way deep into it. Way deep. Hitting it perfect. Now it's all about whether I have enough to get there. And the wind had very little effect. I started off on that side of the cup, and I was so close that the wind had very little effect, but I should have put the ball guide just a little bit more through the cup with that headwind. But the wind didn't really push the ball off. The cup was here, flagpole's here, and I was like right here, and I came in right here, so the wind had very little effect on that ball. All right, let's see where we're at. Backbone. There's Max Club. I'm right at Max. Put on maximum backspin. Just try and stick it right at it. So it's 4 per ring. And I'm at max backbone, which is 1.9. So divided by 1.9 is 2.10 rings. And I am way downhill. So I know that I should add some on, but I'm just going to do the 2.1. Hit it 1 ring great to the right. And you can see that was going right towards the cup, so I was aiming here. I hit a 1 ring great to the right, but I knew because I'm way downhill that I should have pulled more. So the 1 ring great to the right actually in that situation helped me. Can't be good, be lucky. It looks like it's going to go long, but that's just might be how it looks. And it's going to be a little long. 4.01 versus 1.83. Fairway to fairway to green. I think I have an empty slot. Sorry, no. Do I have an empty slot? I do. I can open up. I'm going to speed this one open. I can open up 1 more so I can win 2 more. Hopefully one of those is going to be a gold. Hopefully one's going to be a gold. Back out on the course. I was going to back out and I was going to play my first Tour 4 match, but I'll play 1 more Tour 3 and then we'll end it off. We'll end it off in Tour 4. I don't remember what courses are in Tour 4. I'll have to go look at them. This is the Island Par 5. Everybody's been playing this game for any length of time. He said, hey, the Island Par 5. This is the Par 5 in the game that you can actually get a condor on. And if you don't get an Albie during the tournament, you've actually dropped a shot. It's not that you have to get an Albie, but you really need to get an Albie. When you're playing in the lower tiers, it's not as big a deal, but if you're playing in the upper tiers, if you're in tier 3, this is an Albie hole, and if you don't get an Albie, you really kind of dropped a shot. Is this am I thinking of the right hole here? This looked like that hole, but maybe I'm thinking of the wrong. No, this is the Island Par 3. That wind is... if I use that wind, I'm not sure I could get over even if I used the wind. When I first started playing, I would rough bump it off of that island, off of that spot right there, but I'm going to hit over here the same place my opponent hit to. 3.7. Extra miles 3 per ring, so it's like a ring and a third. And this fairway is so wide that I'm going to put some overpower on it here, because even if I hit it 2 rings great to the left, I should still be all right. Maybe. We'll see. I say that and then I'll end up going right into the rough. This fairway is like a mile wide, so it's kind of hard to screw it up, but I suppose you can. I was trying to get farther down there because I figured my opponent was going to have a hard time. I haven't played over to that side on this hole in so long I could barely remember, but it did seem to me that there was an issue with the distance to try and get to this fairway to get up. That you'd have to, if you hit over here and you didn't get far enough, you'd have to lay it up again and then go for it. This is where your big dog in your bag would help out. It may not be able to save you if you don't get enough distance on the drive, but your big dog might help you, because being a big hitting wood, trying to get up into that area right there. Now if we leave the wind in, my Viper is at 2.1 per ring, so I'm, what, a ring and 3/4, so 3.2. That's pretty damn close. Pretty close. I'm going to put it all on. And I'm going to use the wind and try and get over to the other side. Oh, no. I'm in trouble. Woo! Got a little lucky. Can't be good, be lucky. Jeez. That was close. The deal is that if we could get over to that spot right there, now we're in our Firefly, and our Firefly is the best club in our bag. And so we've got the best ball guide and the best accuracy with our Firefly. So, ball guide. We can actually see where the hell we're hitting. And that is huge when you're trying to get into the green right here. So it's sad to say that the best club in my bag is the Firefly, but I'm excited that I have a Firefly because it is the best damn club in my bag. All right, let's see where we're at. Where is my Firefly? There's my Firefly. Run that top spin up. I got all kinds of room. Pull it back so that the ball guide is actually showing. Where am I at? There's max. And there's min. So I'm still at max club. .9. 1.9 divided by 2.5. Divided by 2.5. 7.75 of a ring. There's 0.75 exactly. And I was a little short, so I am going to just rub the nubs. Give it just a titch of power. No dice. I had a shot at it though. I didn't execute properly. We can't blame that on the club. I took a big risk trying to get over there just to try and get into my Firefly. If I'd have hit that shot trying to get over there perfect, I would have made a lot more distance. That would have been a much better shot. But you got to take what you got. What I do like is that I got a short putt. I like short putts. I like, if you know how to use the wind ring method and you play that so that you end up closer to the cup, if you miss it and it doesn't go in and you don't get that drop, you're at least close to the cup and you got a short putt. Having to take long putts blows. Some people are super good at them and it doesn't bother them at all, and some people are like me and I do not like taking long putts. And this is the alternate pin placement on this, because the original pin placement is up in this area, which is better. This pin placement is brutal. Now, if we had ball guide here, there is a rough bump that you could do. They didn't adjust the wind out from where they're at, so we'll see. They're going to hit more on the right hand side and it's curved, so this ball is going to go to the right. .14. All right, we're in our backbone as well. We're at max backbone, so 4.2 divided by 1.9. It's 2.21 rings. Let's get up there. We want to stay on the flat here, but I'm 2 rings away from that transitional surface on the left hand side. I'm going to put 1 backspin on it. You know, it's a little backspin. I'm going to put 1 whole backspin. 2.21 rings. There's 2 1/4. Hit it 1 ring great to the right. Close. Close. That's what we want. We want to win 50% of our matches out on the course, and we want to win 50% of our shootouts. That's a 75% win percentage. And we're trying to fill our slots every day. All right, so I got one more chest to win. Let's try our first Tour 4 match. What courses are in this? Glen Monarch Estates and Wiseacre Ranch. Man, those are going to be. Glen Monarch is there's some rough holes in there for beginner clubs. Some tough holes. The benefit that I have over all of you that are new is I know all these holes. I don't, if you told me Wiseacre Ranch hole number 9, I do not know what this hole is. I wouldn't be able to tell you. But now that we're on it, I can tell you exactly what we're going to do. And this hole sucks. It'd be nice if we could get over to the other side, but even if we use that wind, we're just not going to make that. So we're just not going to make it over there. So I'm going to hit it over here and lay it up and see what we can get done. 5.3 divided by extra miles 3 per ring, 1.76 rings. There's 175. No overpower. Don't have any room to do overpower, so I'm just going to hit it over there. Hitting it perfect. Just laying it up. I'm not sure whether I can get up on the green here. It's a long, and the deal is that we have a bunch of shit in between us and the green. If you brought out a little bit bigger ball here, especially the way the wind's blowing today, you could make it over to the other side. And if you make it over to the other side, your view of the cup is greatly enhanced. Now they could be in some serious ass trouble here. They are. Now they cannot recover. The deal is that it's even worse than that. They're going to have to lay up kind of where we're at, and then they still have a shit ton of work to do to get to the cup. You can see I can't put any curl on it because that second bounce, my second bounce right here, is going to hit this if I put any curl on it. So this is one of those situations I can't really use the wind because I'm already so close to that rough that I really can't do anything about it. I'm going to hit it over here to the other side. I got more room to roll out, and there's less likely I'll end up in the rough. 3.3 divided by 2.1, 1.57 rings. There's 1.6. And I hit it 7,000 rings great to the right. And so I'm behind this freaking tree limb because of that great to the right. I would have been farther away from the cup if I'd have hit it perfect or great to the, or excuse me, great to the left. I would be behind, I'd be farther away if I hit it great to the right or perfect, but I would have been able to clear, my angle would have been such that I would have cleared that tree. Now that's what I'm talking about with my opponent, is they'll have to just lay it up where we were at, and then they've got the same shot we just took, which is shit. It's hard to get up there. They are a little closer, but not much. And because I'm behind that tree, I don't have a shot at it. No matter what I do, I'm not going to have a shot at it. But what I am going to do is try and get what I'm looking for. Is my ball guide to kind of be towards the hole. And max firefly, which is 2.5 per ring, so it's 4 divided by 2.5. It's 1.6 rings. And then hopefully I have some curl on this. I'm not sure if this club has any curl. It didn't, to speak of. Now I have one of those dreaded long putts. And you're looking at that going, that's not a long putt. That's true. That is not a long putt. That's still longer than I like to take. And my opponent was very wise right there and I was hoping that I could clear that tree, and then I would have had a straight up shot with my Firefly, and I would have had actually a pretty decent shot of making that last. But that 75 rings great to the left on the second shot did not help me. You want to be in the center. Isn't it perfect? And let your opponent make the mistakes. Our opponent was in the rough. They had to recover. Then they had to recover again, and they were in the rough. Now they have the shot to try and catch up, and they've got to take this shot from the rough. They'd have the best clubs you have in your bag are the top 4, and we don't want to have to use the rough iron and the sand wedge ever. I mean, obviously shit happens, and we are going to have to use them, but we want to try and limit that. We want to have very few shots in our history. Good game. And I don't really want to replay them. Sometimes if people ask me to replay, I almost always replay, and there are times when I'll replay them and I don't have an empty slot, and I know it, but I'll replay them. We were able to upgrade our Goliath here, so let's see what it gets, because the Goliath is questionably, right now it's 2.9 versus 2.3 ball guide. We're not going to get any more ball guide with the Goliath, and that ball guide is a little helpful, but we do get a little bit of curl. The backspin with the backbone's a little bit helpful. Picking up some distance that's a big deal right there in the distance. At 232 versus 120. And there's nothing wrong with a Goliath. So if you're hitting, you could go either way. I really like the Goliath when it gets over the 3 ball guide, but there are times when, especially when we're playing in tournaments, in one-on-one play, you got to think about this. In one-on-one play, typically in rookie, it works one of 2 ways. You're either going to take your long iron into the cup, or you're going to take your wood into the cup. And so these 2 clubs, like having the big dog, there's a lot of times out on the course that the big dog is going to help you, but when you get into a shootout with the 2.1 ball guide versus the 2.9, that definitely is it's going to be harder to win shootouts with the big dog than it is with the Viper. And so you got to be thinking about, if you have a bag that has a big dog in it, it especially works good when you watch your opponent play and your opponent shanks the shot and they end up in the rough or the sand, and you're like, man, if I can get out to that spot that I can normally hit out to the second shot, if I had a big dog in my bag, I could be on in 2 and make a putt, and I could beat them just by playing straight. It's worth bringing it out, because I know there's a good chance I'm not gonna have to go to a shootout. But playing with it day to day, it's great for some tournament holes, and sometimes it is the club, but just your normal deal, thinking about, hey, I'm going to take my wood into a lot of these shootouts if I go to a shootout, and I'd rather have the ball guide of a Viper, even though overall it might, it could be argued which club's better. Same thing with your long iron. The Goliath is going to be, in some situations better, but day to day playing with it, you might be better off with a little bit more ball guide, especially when you first start playing. It really kind of helps you. So I'm going to just keep those in there. Let's see. I had some other clubs here. The Desert Storm. Yeah, I'm not ever playing with that. Its ball guide blows, and its distance blows. All right. We have an empty slot. We can play another Tour 4, and this will be the last one because I don't have any more gems. I'll have to buy something if I want to play any more. How long has this video been going on? 1 hour and 4 minutes. So yeah. This is the last one. Hopefully going through and playing these is helping. I've had some comments on there that people have been enjoying them, and it is helping. So if it's helping, you know, leave a comment and let me know. Especially if you're a new player and just like going out there and just doing the basic stuff is game changing. And I don't have any gems to buy. I can buy one. I prefer a Marlin. Yeah, let's pick it. Okay. There's a trick shot we could do on here, but with that wind, I'm not sure we could get it done. Give myself enough room from the red line. Just lay it up right there. 4.9 divided by, what am I in? I'm in Viper, 2.1. It's 2.33 rings. 233. Better take the shot before I run out of time. Hitting it great. Got all that shit going for me. Yes, you can hit it all the way down to the end. But this green is super hard to come up at the cup, and this pin placement is the original pin placement. And the second shot here is super difficult unless you got a club that's got some backspin. And there is a rough bump that you can do right there, but it's on a hill like this, and it can go south where you go straight up in the air and then end up in the drink. And if you end up in the sand or in the rough down on the end, it can be very, very difficult to come at it from this direction, especially if you're all the way down at the end. But like, that's a great look right there. But here we can try and sneak up on it. We can come at it from the side. There's max. There's min. So I'm at mid Viper. Mid Viper's 2.4 per ring. 2 rings of separation. Use my little bit of curl on my max backspin. I'm going to pull back just a little. So it's 4 divided by 2.4. It's 1.66 rings. There's 1.66 exactly. And I'm going to lean. Just rub the nubs. Hitting it perfect. Just give myself a short little putt. It's hard to get super aggressive with that. Now let's see if my opponent, they're not quite as far down there as you'd like to be, but let's see what the shot is here. It's going to be very difficult, especially with a beginner long iron, and we all know because we just started off with a beginner long iron. And they're overpowering it and they're leaning to the left. And they hit it way great. That was 2 solid rings great to the right. And we know that that club's 2.8 per ring, and with that 4 mile an hour wind, that's like a ring and a half. And they just hit it 2 rings, 2.5 rings great to the right. So that's how you can end up in the rough. My opponent's got the beginner rough iron. Now, with 135, they've played 22 games. This person's probably played before, having an 86% win percentage coming up the ranks. So they haven't upgraded any of their clubs yet. But it still sucks having to take this shot with a beginner club. And they're short shooting. They hit it perfect. They missed the cup. Missed the cup. There we go. There you have it. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And we're not going to rematch because we don't have any empty slots, and I'm not playing this account. This account, we want to open up chests. Tour 5, open. I'm not a big fan of those. The main, unless you're getting gems, but they want, so it's not a big deal here as far as like 800 gems for, you normally get 500, but what we're normally looking for is we get 10 balls, we get a Tour 5 chest and 500 gems. Here we get a Tour 5 Platinum chest, which is a little bit better than that gold chest, and 300 more gems and some coins. Most people will play this because they need the coins in order to kind of move up, because coins are a big deal when you first start playing. And so a lot of people will be looking at this maybe because of the coins. This is marginal. I really like, if I'm gonna buy a pack where and I'm not gonna play, I have some balls that I bought a while ago, but I haven't got on the right tournament hole where those, it's not that I'm hoarding them. When I get on a hole in a tournament where it's like that's the ball and I have one of them, that's what we're using. These are actually not too bad of balls to have because I don't really have any in my main account. I'm definitely going to buy at least a $4.99 pack just so that I have some of them, because this is actually a pretty decent ball. There's a lot of times coming into a hole that we're using a katana and having the precision and a little more side spin and better wind. I mean, that's not a bad deal. Not a bad deal. The ball packs, modern balls, what they're selling today for special balls versus what they used to sell. You get much better balls today than you used to. Much better. All right, there you have it. I played until I ran out of gems and I filled all of my slots. So we're continuing to work on our clubs, and now we've got a bunch of different clubs, and we've got to keep track of our wind ring, our wind for every stinking club. I find it really easy to do it by hand, but if you start right now by getting the Golf Clash Caddy app or getting the Golf Clash Notebook app and using those apps right now and build up that habit of using that, then it'll become so second nature to you. The problem is that you will never know the numbers on your clubs. So if you don't have the app up, then you're going to have to make a guess. Whereas if you do the hand math, you'll get used to remembering like what the max numbers are at least. There are several clubs that I know all of the numbers for, especially like wedge and short iron. But there you have it. Another lesson. Hopefully everybody learned something. Thanks for watching the video to this point. If you're a subscriber, thank you. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, hit the like, leave some comments, let me know what you're thinking. Be safe.